Whoa.
Basketball is my favorite sport. I like the way they dribble up and down the court. Just like I'm the king on the microphone. So it's Dr.
After
J.
2
and
weekends
Moses
played, we
Malone.
have 3 teams that are unblemished. We have the Hawks 3-0, the Lakers 2-0, and the Bullets, those boys in blue, the Bullets 3-0. I'm your host, the Dudster, Nestor Dudley, along with Steve Wright, old friend of the show, head coach of the Bullets. Steve, welcome to Around the Rim.
Thank you, Nestor.
Folks are out there wondering, this isn't week 3. What are we doing with Steve Wright here, breaking tradition? Steve Wright is one that holds sacred to all traditions. And of course, he coined the phrase, the rules are the rules. But for all you folks out there that remember the second and third shows, 18 seasons ago, Steve Wright and Don McKnight were guests on both shows 2 and 3. So we didn't break tradition. So you're
Oh, good. So precedent's been set. But I'm not coming next week.
Steve, before we get to talk to you, I just want to welcome back Waldo Wigglesworth. He wasn't here last weekend, Steve, and Waldo has never missed a show in 18 seasons. There was one show. I missed the 50th show myself, but Waldo has been here, so now me and Waldo are tied after all these years.
That's incredible. I mean, I don't know why he couldn't be here. What could be more important than not being here?
I don't see what was more important. He decided he wanted to take some type of trip to California. I don't blame him for doing that, but he had the entire year to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Not during the winter. Where do you want to go during the winter? It's beautiful here. Why would you want to go to warmer weather in the winter?
Steve, the 25th anniversary of the Mall Neighborhood Basketball League, and you've been here since we call him day one for a reason, obviously. He's been here since day one. 25 years later, Steve, did you ever see yourself in this Mall Neighborhood Basketball League? Do you ever see the league surviving 25 years?
No, not the way we started, because, it started on a shoestring and a prayer. But, it's incredible. And 25 years. I mean, I never thought, even if the league was here for 25 years, I never thought I'd be here for 25. But, stranger things have happened. I'm here. So, But yeah, it's been really good. 25 years, a lot of kids have come and gone. A lot of kids have learned a lot. A lot of kids have enjoyed themselves. And Commissioner Kenny Mazonson has done a great job, and all the coaches. There's a reason we have coaches in there for a lot of years, and that's what stabilizes a program. We get our new guys in and out, new assistants and new stuff, which brings new blood. A lot of ex-players, which is nice.
I was just going to say the new assistants and the new coaches and stuff, more often than not, they've participated in this program when they were eligible to play.
Right, and that's what makes the league great, because they know what to expect, they know what to bring in. Sometimes us older guys like Beanie and me and Chris, and you could go down the list, sometimes, we get stale. And you need some new ideas, new thoughts, some younger, and which is nice. So it's a good balance. Good balance of older people, a good balance of new guys. And it's nice to see them come back. It makes you feel good, especially if you're one of the head coaches where that where they come back, your former players come back, and that's what the league's all about, and that means you taught them something, they enjoyed it, and now they want to be a part of it. They were part of it as a player, now they want to come back years later and be a coach, which is great.
And the most recent example of this, phenomenon we was talking about is Mighty Joe Young. He played on the Celtics. He graduated, the year escapes me because all these years just blend together. He was the assistant coach for the Celtics for the past several years under the Magic Man, Evans Revere. Evans Revere could not make the commitment this year, but Joe Young put in his time, and now he's head coach of the Celtics. So this is just the latest example of what you're just talking about.
Yeah, and he was a great assistant coach. I know Magic had a lot of problems. He, certain times he couldn't be there, and Joe took the reins, and which was great. And that's, we all look for those great assistant coaches. The ones that are committed, they'll do anything for you, and that's what the Celtics had with him. So now him being the head man, I don't expect anything less, and so far he's been doing a great job.
Well, Steve, you will probably be happy to hear that on last week's 1 hour season special that the Bullets have been officially been named the team of the aughts, the decade of the aughts. When you win 2 titles in 3 years, that produces one dynasty. So the Bullets, team of the arts.
Wow, see, I didn't get to see that hour show living up in Drake yet, but...
ATRlive.com, baby.
I know.
Not only can you watch it, your relatives down the Kakalakis can watch it too.
They watch it every time. They probably watch it more than I do. And I haven't been on because by the time I get the laptop away from my wife, it's like time for bed. But yeah, so that's fantastic. I mean, I'm very proud. That's very good. I thank you very much for that.
Steve, I think that you have a nice, solid squad this season. You've returned 8 or 9 players. You've picked up 4 players in the draft, and I'm told by Commissioner Ken Johnson that out of the 4 players, 3 of them had high school basketball experience. So it seems to me that the Bullets are looking good. I know you're never one to toot your horn. I know you come up here every year and say how you're not satisfied. You'll probably say the same thing now. But reading down your roster, Jerome Dean, returner. Stephen Eschuk, Jonathan Tiongson, all 3 returners. Matt Howe, Austin Teal, Drew McFarland, Alex Andon, Tyler Cronin, Brett Miller, Brendan Provatola, Aaron Samano, Will Howe. That is a nice, solid squad, Steve, and you're 3-0.
Yeah, with 3-0.
Question is, are you satisfied?
Not yet, but who would be? No matter. I mean, the Lakers are 2-0, and the Hawks are 3-0, and you can ask any one of them. You can ask Beanie, you can ask Bernacco. They're not happy. I mean, they're thrilled to be undefeated. Don't get me wrong. I said to my guys, and we had less practices this year because the school committee decided again, let's up the prices on these poor kids in this tough economy. So what else is new? But so we had less practices. We had less time. Everybody's in the same boat, though. I'm not looking for excuse. So I said, if we can win more than we lose before we because nobody wants to peak now anyway. Nobody wants to peak till at least the halfway mark going in. So I mean, there's a lot of bright spots I've seen. They work so hard. I am impressed with that. But I think we go up and down as far as defense. Sometimes we're good, and then sometimes we go down. I think we just got to put 4 quarters together. But I know that's going to take work and it's going to take games, and we'll get there.
That buzzer you just heard, Steve, I'm not putting you in the web this week. You've been in the web the past several seasons, and I'm not going to put you in the web. But we're going to go old school, ATR old school, trivia question. So we talked about the Lakers. We talked about the Hawks, both teams being undefeated. We always talk about how the Bullets and the Lakers is the oldest rivalry in the Malden Napier Basketball League. So this week's trivia question is devoted to the Bullets and the Lakers. And it's as follows. Name the 3 players that have played for both the Bullets and the Lakers over the past 25 years in the Malden Napier Basketball League. The answer will be given to you at the end of the program. Right now, I'm your host, the Dudster. Nesta Dudley, back in the studios of ATR, along with Steve Wright, head coach of the Bullets. Steve, we talk about, or you've mentioned, the 2 other undefeated teams, the Lakers and the Hawks. And Steve, you know what your schedule is this weekend. You're playing both undefeated teams. You have the Lakers Saturday, you have the Hawks Sunday, 3 unblemished teams, and if my math is right, there's a possibility of 2 teams continue to be unblemished only because the Lakers and the Hawks don't play each other this weekend. So you can either come out this weekend looking golden, come out this weekend being moderately okay, or coming out this weekend 0-2, and we certainly don't want that.
Yeah, I mean,
it's an early test.
It's like playing the Lakers all weekend because the Hawks coach are former Lakers. So I mean, it's going to be a tough weekend.
That could be considered double the beaniage.
Oh, that's even tougher. I didn't even think about that. Now something else I got to think about. Now I got to go back to the drawing board and figure this out. But
I like that. Double beaniage.
You like that? Go double beaniage. I don't know if he'll like it, but
yeah, it's to get them both on the same weekend. That's very tough. I would have liked to split them up. Had one on one weekend and then one, especially this early in the season. But
I think we have to find out who makes these schedules and
yeah, I know something's got to
talk to that person.
I used to like when I played the Lakers the first game of the year, but I don't know what happened to that. I think Beanie complained and he got his way, but I don't know. But yeah, it's going to be very tough. But you know what? It's a good test. I mean, we play each other twice, so we play the Lakers twice, we play the Hawks twice. So at least we didn't have them the first weekend. You know, both of them the first weekend or the second. At least it's the third week. So yeah, so I mean, it should be a great test. The Hawks beat us in the Jamboree. You know, I mean, they beat us by like 12 or 13. I don't know what the finals, I can't remember the final. So as you get older, your memory goes. But yeah, so it's going to be a tough test for both teams, all three teams. So, but I think everybody's looking for this matchup as far as the head coaches are to see what their team's made of. You know, to see how far they are, you know, how far they need to go, what they need to work on. So it should be a good test. It will definitely this weekend be playoff atmosphere. That's for sure.
Now, I mentioned, Steve, earlier how your team returned the most players, 8 or 9 players. How many, was it 8 or was it 9?
It was 8. We could have brought 9, but as you know, one of those plays was named Rookie of the Year last year. So
and what happens when you're named the Bullets Rookie of the Year the past 3 seasons, you just don't come back. You make your high school team, which is certainly has to be a testament and a great compliment to your coaching. But on the other hand, can't one of those Rookie of the Years play their second year?
Yeah, can't they play? They only got 2 more years, 3 years. But, you know, I mean, they all played high school, so I can't complain. Corey Spencer, Shaq, you know, Chris Torilli, so I can't complain. You know, so at least they're playing high school. So I guess they come for 1 year. We teach them too well, and they're good enough to go on. But
the point I was going to make is that returning 8 players and only have to pick up 4, and we talk about how the league had less practices this past December as a way to cut cost. And the Bullets just missed the Madness last year, coming in 5th place. Do you find that it's easier that you have 7 returners, 8 returners, so you don't have to go over as much, you don't have to cram a lot of things within those fewer weeks as opposed to the other 7 teams that had to draft anywhere from 7 players on each of the other 7 teams?
Oh, definitely, because they know what you want. You know, they know what they're doing, and when you're drafting less, it's, you know, those veterans can teach the younger guys, so they can yell out, they can communicate a practice, they can communicate a game. So of course it's better, and of course we should be above those other guys. You know, those other teams that had to pick 7, 8, 9.
There was 2 teams that had to pick up 10.
10. I mean, that's
the Pistons and the Sixers both had to pick up 10. Now, you're the Pistons, you're the defending Neighborhood League champ. Paul Conrad and his wife, Lisa Conrad, the official first couple of the Ball Neighborhood Basketball League. You can sit back and be satisfied with this rebuilding year because you're sitting warm in the stands with a jacket. But if you're the Sixers, well, actually the Sixers had a jackets 2 seasons ago, but to pick up 10 players, cut down on practices, you could be behind the 8 ball. Sixers right now 0-3, and the Pistons are 1-2.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a big difference because if you're picking that many players, you're probably picking young. You know what I mean? You're probably going to pick more sophomores, juniors than seniors. You know, so you got a lot of teaching to do, you know, and I've been there. I mean, we've all been there as coaches, and, you know, so, yeah, so it makes a big difference, especially if you got guys that, you know, you get 6, 7, or 8 coming back. You are going to be above them. You know, I mean, not above like in the standings, but, I mean, more experienced on the court right off the start. But, you know, as the season goes, things can even out. You know, those young players can learn quickly, and by the end of the year, they could be getting on a hot streak, and all of a sudden, you know, now you're battling. So,
and it's common coaching knowledge that it's such a key to try to win as many early games as possible, because when it comes down to the stretch, where all the teams are pretty much going to be the teams that they're going to be, to lose to a team that isn't as good as your team early, and then that one loss could knock you out of the madness. And I think that it was happened to the Bullets last year. They had one loss early on to a team that finished under you in the standings, and it affected your trip to the madness.
Oh, definitely, especially early in the season. I know we lost to play other teams that finished below us. You know, and then you look back at those 1-point games you lost, or those overtime games you lost. We had a couple of overtime that we had the chance to win in regulation, and we blew it. So I'm hoping with the 8 players back that they remember that's all experience. you know, and that will come a long way in the playoffs. You know, they'll remember that time we didn't make the playoffs. So that should be good experience for this year.
Now, Go Ref Go was back there. I didn't cut you off. Go Ref Go was back there being impatient, playing mix master. But
Following the script.
following the script, brother, and that's why you're the best script follower in the business, along with R.A. and Walter Wigglesworth, of course. But we're going to go into this week's game. So if you're ready, Go Ref Go, R.A., let's roll them. This past week, the week of January 10th, first game, Sixers, Hawks, and Ali Joseph beyond the arc, where everything is 3. Kervin Luis puts it back. Scott Jules.
So it's my 21st, so we're both be getting
Scott
good.
Jules, coast to coast. He left the Pacific. He ended up in the Atlantic. Touchdown.
Probably be a 20.
El Abdullah stroking all 3 of these. Jules gets away with steps. Proctor outlets it to Joseph. And there goes Ali Joseph again. See ya.
That's good.
He's not missing those at all. I know he tried out.
El Abdullah strokes it deep, and I don't think it's reboundable. Isaiah Kelly to the rack.
Any defense right now as far as rebounds.
Kelly cuts to Crayola.
They put that Hawk player wide open in the hole.
The next set, Ryan Ortiz, backdoor baby.
They just let that Hawk player wide open in the hole. Hustle. Abdul got to look for his team. Nice pass. Ryan Ortiz. And he hit it. Ball come back to the gap.
Proctor taps it to Kelly.
Kelly's going to beat the Oliveira. With ease. You got to get someone in his shirt.
El Abdullah goes glass. El Abdullah
Do another nice drop shot.
teardropping.
Ortiz blows the body.
De Oliveira with the sky hook. De Oliveira throwing touchdowns.
Off the glass. Now Abdul is
Joseph cuts the crimson.
get on that defense.
Ketty in on the down low.
Nice play. There you go.
Console going hard. Hawks over the Sixers 70-58. High man for the Sixers with El Abdul with 40 points. Next game, Sonics Bullets. Provatola down low doing work. Provatola in the paint.
I guess. Gotta respect it. I gotta see the number again.
Keegan Wilcox stroking threes.
This Sonic team this year. Last year he was a role player.
Nice pass to Williams.
Their offense is good.
Very nice.
Austin Peele drives to the rack.
Takes the drive. Yeah, those shorts are
Drew McFarlane stroking uglies.
gonna be like a mess on the floor. We allow Bill go.
Teal finds Provatola.
The Sonics have gotten away from what
He's
worked.
having a monster year already.
After recess, Kensley medalist to the rack.
And the rest of
Provatola, the hoop in the ham.
Joel's not there yet.
Andy Williams strokes it deep, and I don't think it's reboundable. Will Howe doing work. William cleans it up.
Williams puts it on the floor. Didn't have to do that. Scores. Take the shot, I'd say.
And Kat Ricala puts it back.
By getting wins.
Bullets victorious over the Sonics, 54-42, not 429. Provatola high man, 27 points, third game. Celtics Kings, Rayshawn Hopkins, nice outside J. Batista in the Crayola. Donnell Taylor
I didn't think he was
puts it back.
What a rebound.
Ross to the rack.
I thought Cliff was
There you go. Strong to the hole.
Ross, Hoopenham,
And one.
Exil, packed in the act.
Nice take.
The final frame, Derek Patterson, strong to the hole.
This is what
Ross takes it to the emerald.
Taquan Ross with a nice finish.
Exil home, double stuffed. Ross puts it back.
Taquan Ross with the rebound and puts it back in.
DiGiovanni for 2.
Giovanni start moving to the hole.
Chabray cleans it up.
Chabray.
Nice job by Chabray.
Giovanni, nice pass to Chabray. Kings over the Celtics, 54-35. DiGiovanni, high man for the Kings, led all scores of 15 points. The Kings improved to 1-1. Celtics dropped First game Sunday, 10-point bettors the Lakers are over the Pistons. Berberina, high man for the Lakers, 12 points. McCoy led all scores of 15 points. The second game, Sonics losing to the Celtics 70-44. Hopkins led all scores of 27 points. And the third and final game, Hawks, Kings. Hawks got away with one, 58-52. Kelly led all scores with 21 points as the Hawks improved to 3-0, and the Kings dropped to 1-2. And that's what happened this past weekend. So, go ref go. It is time for the trivia answer. But before we put the trivia answer up there, go ref go, let's ask Coach Steve Wright. Do you remember who the three players were?
Peter Nazzaro was one. Great Trade was the other. Adrian Pleasant. And who was the other one? Milatron.
Milatron. You got it. We can put up that slate, go ref go. Peter Nazzaro, he played from 1991 to 1993. Milatron played from 1996 to 1998. And Adrian Pleasant played one season, 1997. And Steve Wright is alluding to that trade because he made that trade with Beanie Amos to keep Adrian Pleasant out of the hands of Chuck Rogers, who at that time was the head coach for the Sixers. The big dance came up to the first place Sixers, the third place Lakers. The Sixers won. They were the 1997 champs. But the trade, Steve, you were no kind of nice to long pal Beanie Amos. It took him an entire generation to recover. And a generation of NBL is 3 years. It took him an entire generation to recover from that trade.
Well, I had to put him on the, I always ask my seniors if there's anybody that wants to be traded because, but I'll only send them to if they're really good, I'll only send them to a winner, someone who's going to make the playoffs because he gave me 2 years and I wanted, I knew we weren't going nowhere, so I want to reward him for everything he gave me, and he gave me everything he had. And I want to reward him with the chance to win a championship, So I just put him up on the bidding block. It's like, whoever pays the highest price gets him. But fortunately, it was Beanie who paid the high price.
And
it wasn't the Kings. That's what's smart.
And you know what, Steve? That trade officially started your Camelot years because starting in the years 1998 to 2000, you had Camelot. That's where you had the Cornerties and you had and all the other boys that came with them. It's not your Camelot years. You were always right there, did not grasp a title. But on for the weekly Around the Rim Awards. So let's kick it. Player of the past week. Andy Williams of the Sonics. Coach of the week, Glenn Higgins of the Kings. Why Glenn Higgins? Because Glenn Higgins missed the season opener and they lost. Glenn Higgins came back and they won the very next game. So it's obvious to this reporter that the brains of the whole Kings coaching outfit is Glenn Higgins. Team of the week.
Wait, that sounds like an MVP to me.
He could possibly be MVP of coaches, but let's get it real. We still
Glenn
have
Higgins, it's his 20th year,
That's what I was talking about, coaches. MVP of the coaches.
Glenn Higgins,
MVP.
20th, and that's a nice segue. Officially after this show, I'm turning the show over to Steve Wright, and I'll be the guest on week 3. Team of the week, the Hawks. As I said, the Hawks, they played 2 games this past weekend, and they got away with one when they played the Kings. Believe me when I tell you, that was a Sunday non-cable cast game. And Woo of the Week goes to Dickie Solis, stepping up to help out in the cable cast booth, volunteering, offering without being asked. Dickie Solis stepping up to the cable cast booth, helping out myself, Go Ref Go, and Brad with Benton. This woo is for you. Woo! And now on to the official stats. Remember, if it doesn't match this or come close to this, it just ain't official. Bullets, Hawks on top of the league 3-0, followed by the Lakers. Pistons, the defending Neighborhood League champs 1-2. Kings, Celtics, Sonics, all 2-1, with the exception of the Sonics there. All 1-2, little dyslexia here. With the exception of the Sonics 1-3, and the Sixers right now butt naked last 0-3. And these week's games, if just want to say, next week's games, I'm fumbling over I'm just coming off vacation, Go Ref Go. What I wanted to say to you, Steve, is that we do not have the Dirty Dozen. We always start that week 3, and it's common knowledge that the Dirty Dozen is Go Ref Go's favorite category.
I can't wait for it, Nestor.
But on to this week's games. First game, Celtics versus Hawks. Second game, Sonics Kings. Third game, Lakers versus Bullets. Calling all Grassi girls.
Where are they?
Calling all Grassi girls. Sunday's games will be First game, Pistons, Sixers. Second game, Celtics, Lakers. And the third game, Bullets, Hawks. Can Bullets Blue stay on top? So, Steve, can Bullet Blue stay on top? We just don't know. But before we get to your answer, let's go on to the next thing. Around the Rim, when you can watch them. Public channel, Comcast Channel 3, Verizon Channel 28, every Thursday live, 7:30, repeats Friday nights, 11 p.m., Saturday evening, 6 p.m., Tuesday mornings, 10 a.m., and Wednesday afternoon, 12:30 a.m. They've given us more time slots, Steve, than I know how to handle. When to watch them? The games, Comcast Channel 15, Verizon Channel 24, that's the educational channel, every Monday through Wednesday, 3 p.m. Actually, I have to change that because it's every Tuesday through Thursday, 3 p.m. And the game of the week is still Friday nights at 7 p.m., Saturday and Sunday at 3 p.m. And the game of the week this week, be Lakers versus Sixers, played in the opening weekend, the opening Sunday. Where to read them? Every week in the Mall and Evening News. And if you're too cheap to spend, and I'm not sure if it's 50 cents. Yes, I did say 50 cents. I think it's 75 cents. Is it 75 cents? Well, if you're too cheap to spend the 50 cents plus 25, which would make 75 cents, you can go to the official website of the Ball Naples Basketball. That's mnbl19.tripod.com. Of course, you can always go to the official online home of this show. That is atrlive.com. Go, Ref, go. How much time do we have? We have 2 minutes. So, Steve, Bullets 3-0. I'm not going to ask you a long-winded question. I'm just going to ask you, how do you like your chances this weekend?
Oh, I have confidence in my players, and I think it's going to be a battle each game. But I like my chances of us winning. It doesn't mean we're going to win, but I certainly like my chances. I'm not going to say, oh no, we're going to go 0-2, blah blah blah. But yeah, I like my chances. I have, Brendan Pravatola is playing phenomenal. Will Howe, Aaron, the two trees underneath, and Tionkson's still hurt. He hurt his ankle, so that hurts us a little bit. He won't be playing this weekend at all. And but yeah, I definitely like like our chances this weekend. So we'll just play as hard as we can, and we'll leave it out on the court. What happens, happens. But it's still a long season, so.
I'm going to have to wrap this show up. Steve, every time you come up here, this 30 minutes always flies by. Again, thank you for being a guest
Thank you, Nestor.
on Around the Rim. And I do want you to go to atrlive.com because last week I did the pick'ems, and how the pick'ems ended. I had the Bullets coming in first place. I had the Hawks coming in second place. I had those two teams along with two other teams going to the madness. I had Bullets, Hawks going to the big dance. I had a rematch of the 2004 championship season with the same results, Bullets over the Hawks. And that's how I'm going to end it. Until next week, I want to say buenas noches, hooches, cooches. I came in peace. I leave with love. This is for the red, the black, and the green, and I'll be seeing you at the games. It's right on top of the console.